everybody on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. I just showed my Instagram friends here on Instagram that I'm doing this in two places. So let me show you guys here too that here's here's Instagram. So we're actually streaming in two or three different places here. But anyways, welcome everybody. This is Conscious Being, Conscious Living. This is my vlog style space where I share with you guys how I'm using the tools in my everyday life, the tools that I talk about, the tools that I use to um, also facilitate people, but also more importantly, tools that save my life and the way I live. So on today's episode, I've sort of like titled it different on both the places, which is interesting. But we sort of like speak to both the topics speak to the similar energies, and one of my friends here says like, no, I don't know what gift I am. So if you sort of ever wondered about or doubt or ever have felt unclear about what gift you are, what contribution you are, if you are a contribution, I hope that this style, very conversational video here will be an invitation to a different possibility for you. And so I've titled it different in different places, which is funny. But like here on Facebook, YouTube land, we're calling it What is Valuable? What is a contribution? What is a gift? And here on Instagram, I titled the same energy, but a little bit different, that what gift are you? And what gift can you be? And I say this here because I was looking at right now as I'm recording this live, you guys might have heard about the wildfires in Maui. So I was like just being with that. And if you're an empath like me, you might know that, as empaths, we have this ability to tap into the awareness of what's going on at a very different level, right? So I've been engaging with being aware of what's going on, and Maui is like such a, if for those of you guys who have been to that place before, whatever it's going to be now, it's a beautiful island in Hawaii, and there's just one particular tree in Lahaina, um, Maui. It's a big, massive, amazing banyan tree. If you guys are watching this on Instagram, I shared a little bit about that tree, some of the photos that I clicked when we were there last. Here, it's a massive, big tree. And among the wildfires, which sort of like then moved towards Lahaina and, um, whatever, in a nutshell, basically that entire town is charred now. And so was the tree. And I have like that tree has been among my tree friends. So this is a funny whatever thing about me, but I wonder, maybe it's not funny or weird for you guys here, but I talk to the trees, and I wonder how much have you also been communing with, talking to the natural world. So anyway, that tree has been one of my tree friends. And so yesterday, when I found out that the tree also caught fire, and this is like this massive tree. If you were to look at from a distance, it look like a little jungle, but it's just one tree. And the cool thing about a banyan tree, if for those of you guys who have seen a banyan tree, I grew up in India, and banyan is one of the most common trees and used to be my favorite tree. It has some mysticism to it, but basically, there's the main trunk which grows as it grows older, and there are these branches, and through those branches stem out its roots. So it has aerial roots basically, which then eventually reach the ground, it touches the earth, and it also becomes a trunk. So sort of when you look at it from a distance, you might confuse it to be multiple trees, but when you come close by and you look up, you'd be surprised that it's actually all coming from one source. That one broad trunk is the core, not exactly the core, because then all of the roots that then become trunks also contribute to the growth and the nurturing of the tree. So anyway, it's like this beautiful massive tree. And yesterday, when I got to know that that tree caught fire too, a lot of it got burned, I had a weird, fun moment. Oh, I mean, calling it fun is sort of ironic, maybe, you know, fun in a way, the way I interacted with it. But I was just tapping into the consciousness of the tree. And I was like, hey, hi, tree. How are you? Are you okay? And first of all, did you know that you can actually communicate and commune regardless of distance? What abilities do we in our bodies have that we haven't acknowledged? If you guys have been around, you might have heard me use the tool, Who Does This Belong To? Which is basically the recognition that 99% of everything that's in your psychic space is not even yours. You're just aware. And another way of looking at it is, does it ever occur that you just know what's going on for someone, even if they don't share it, even if they don't say anything, you can just pick it up in energy. How's that possible? Well, that's because, first of all, my friend, we're infinite beings, not finite beings. I mean, I could technically also ask you a question if I was facilitating and not just say it. I'd ask you to look into it. So maybe we can do that right now. Look into it. If I ask you, hey, are you an infinite being? What do you get? Yes or a no? Are you an infinite being or a finite being? And a part of what I love doing is sort of like bringing this whole thing around infinite being less of like a spiritual concept and more of like a livable reality that you're embodying and functioning as in your day-to-day choices and everything that you get to create in this lifetime. So, anywho, I was from that space of awareness just saying hello to the tree and asking it, hey, is there anything I can contribute to you? Is there anything that you require from me? And sort of like having this energetic exchange of energy. And I was also like really, really, really humbled to just see how everything in nature is always willing to contribute. Like, we get sad, humans get sad, trees don't. Like, you might look at a tree and say, hey, that tree looks sad, but ask the tree, is it sad or is there something else going on? And you might just receive some information. So, what is valuable? What gift are you? When I was looking at this, I was basically today just wondering about how often do we consider these sort of energetic communications that we're always already having to begin with as valuable? And how often do we actually make that which is solid and dense and heavy more real, more relevant, more significant than the lightness, that sense of oneness and communion that's also available? And so, what that tree showed me in that little, it was actually not a little communication. I've sort of, I get that there's something that I'm contributing to the tree, and I'm so grateful for that. But even this right here, acknowledging those little gifts and capacities that you have as a gift and as a capacity. What if you were willing to do that and be that for yourself? Yeah. Jessica here says, I had to cut down my tree in my backyard. Yeah. And I would, in fact, invite you to look at also, what is the gift in that? What's the gift in that? What if, like, this is like, I love that you say that, because it sort of like takes it to a very sort of vulnerable conversation. It requires for us to have a level of vulnerability with ourselves to look at this, but I'm just going to go for it. That what if we live in a world of choice? Now, I sort of get it when one could argue, but why would X person choose this? Why would someone choose poverty? Why would someone choose misery? Why would someone choose struggle? I get it. We can have that. I mean, you can ask that question. We're not going to have that conversation because I want to invite you to a different space with this. But let's just go by this whole thing for a second. Just walk with me for a second on this conversation. What if everyone and everything in the universe has choice? And now, sort of like bringing in the way I use tools. When I ask questions like that, I don't look at the logic of things. I actually look at the energy of things. Because if there is one thing that resonates with me with the greatest lightness, it's this, that everything that's true for you will always have a level of lightness to it. If there's something that's heavy or dense or contractive, anything that you're engaging with being and your energy contracts, to me, I know that that is the energy language saying that this is not congruent with me. This is not true for me. There's something here that's not true for me. Because when I'm in a space where I'm being me, when I'm in a space where I'm congruent with my reality, it has a level of space, a level of openness to it. So when I actually have these conversations with myself, I don't look for um, the cognitive, logical, linear answer. I look at the energy of it. I use that a lot as a guiding post. And if you've worked with me, like with my in a coaching sort of setup or in a class, you will know this. I push people to sort of like start accessing, start using that muscle of awareness again. Stop using your mind as the source, but really get in touch more with you, the being, the essence of you, and start engaging with the world around you, including your own life, not from that mind fuck space, but from that space of presence and energetic congruence. So when I look at that, a question like that, that what if everything in universe has choice? It's expansive for me. And guess what that shows me? It shows me that that is what is true for me. That is how I experience world, or that is what I find to be true and accurate. Versus if I were to say people are suffering, or that there is someone doesn't have choice, or that tree didn't have any choice, it just got burned, or that you just had to cut down the tree was a poor little thing that had to be chopped off. When I talk about that, it might just sound very correct. There might be everybody in the world that might align and agree with that idea or have some point of view on it. But if I were to just be with myself and look at the energy of it, that when any of that energy comes up, or when I'm looking at the tree from that point of view, that it's poor tree, it suffered, or it was a victim of some kind, basically, it's not light. It's not light for me. How's it for you when you look at that? So this is where we sort of like the tools that I use in creation of my life, my living, my business, everything, they are really out of box, a little bit, um require you to be a little bit weird like that, because they require of you to have a different point of view, to be willing to have awareness from a completely different space where you're not mind fucking yourself, where you're not trying to do logic or linearity, but you're willing to be with something, be with the energy of it, and look at what it shows up as in your space. So when I look at things, I'm like, oh, cool. So everything has choice. Nothing is choiceless. Nothing is actually a victim. Yes, shit comes up. Yes, a lot of times stuff comes up in life, in the world, wildfires. That suck. It sucks to have your beautiful tree friend be burnt out, let's say. It sucks. It doesn't feel great. But at the same time, is it true that there was no choice? What if at some level, not from a linear space, but what if at some level from that infinite being space, what if everyone and everything has choice? And what if we could empower each other, and especially ourselves, to know that to be true? If that is true, like look at it for yourself. Is it light for you when you look at it? Yeah, very different point of view, right? So, what is the gift in this? It's the craziest thing ever, but this one freaking question is the way I've learned now to look at everything, even the thing that freaking sucks. What is the gift in this? Even the stuff that's so heavy to look at. what is the gift in this? Even the stuff, and especially the stuff that's contractive and dense, that feels very important, that feels like, the sadness is real. And I feel it in my body too. Because that's the thing. If you're an empath, you might know it better than the others. Anyway, not relevant. I was going to go on a different tangent, but not going there. But you might just know that your body is giving you information all the time. A lot of times we just, instead of looking at what the information is, just go into the conclusion that I'm having a headache or my stomach is upset. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But what I'm saying is, our bodies are sensate organisms. They're giving us information about the world outside in so many non-linear ways, along with ways that, are easy for everyone to understand. For example, your eyes are giving you information about what it's seeing in its own visual spectrum, although even science knows that there is a sort of a window even in that. So what we see is not all that there is. Like right here, right now, there are a lot of radio waves, and if you're using a phone, if you're using internet, there are waves that are carrying this information. You don't see it, but it's there because we're using it. So it's sort of like that. Just because we haven't yet discovered how it works does not mean that it's not working. It's already working like this. So um why am I having this conversation? Why am I bringing the tree? Why am I bringing Maui? Why am I bringing all this, the heavy stuff, and really having the willingness to be with, okay, cool, this feels very heavy, this feels very solid, this feels very real, but I know better, because I know that it's not light, and I know that that which is light and that which is true for me, that which is congruent for me as a being, is always has a sense of space and lightness to it. So just that one knowing, if you were to allow that knowing to like create some space of curiosity in your world, it can really change just everything. Because like I was saying, the point of view that what is the gift in this has been so immensely giving and gifting to me, especially in the last 1.5 years of my life. I wondered, for those of you guys who may have heard me say this, last year I was in a huge space of muck and shit. Like I had my nervous system sort of like was in a freak out, panic, full on mode. I started having out what felt like out of nowhere panic attacks, anxiety, and like living was miserable in my everyday life. And even though all of that heaviness was so in my face, and if anybody was to come and tell me, hey, is heavy, is this even real, I would probably punch them in their face. Because I totally get that when you're in it, you don't want any asshole to come and tell you all that kind of stuff, right? So even though that was the case, somewhere I also always knew that there has to be something different available. There has to be. This is not it. No matter how much this feels like it is real, no matter how much it feels like this is important, this is not it. There is more to it. There is something different available. So, like that one whisper of knowing is what sort of I've used to create where I'm right now, in a place where none of that is a problem for me. But that's a topic for, like, that's a conversation altogether, a different topic of conversation. But I say this here now because somewhere the point of view was, what is the gift in this? That's what I kept asking, even though I was frustrated. I didn't want to ask that question a lot of times. When I was like having a panic attack, let's say, right? Your survival mode is full on turn on. And somewhere the knowing inside me just kept asking, there has to be a fucking gift in this. What is the gift in this? What is the gift in this that I cannot even see? What is the gift in this that I don't believe in right now, but I know better? So I say all of this to sort of like bring to topic what we're talking about. What gift are you? Because what we tend to make valuable in the world may not actually be what's valuable to you. Me having that moment of communion with the Maui big banyan tree is a gift. And nobody's gonna come and applaud me for it. Only I can acknowledge that about myself. So I invite you guys to do that, look at that too. What acknowledgement are you might be seeking, or what validation you might be seeking from others? What do you want others to validate you for? What do you want someone else to tell you? That you're okay, that you're doing well, that there's nothing wrong with you? What if you can be the source of all of that energy for you? Because when you're truly being vulnerable enough to be present with yourself and having the conversations around this stuff, around what's truly valuable to you, that is when you get to show up more dominantly as a gift, even in the world. So being a gift is not something that you have to earn. It's not something that you have to study and be a master at. What if being a gift is something as simple as being willing to be vulnerable, being willing to acknowledge how different you are, being willing to be that different, being willing to look at the energetics of stuff? Because when I was communing and communicating with my banyan tree friend, one of the moments that popped up where it said, thank you. Thank you for acknowledging me. Thank you for checking in. And to me, that translated as, wow, wow. That must have been such a gift for the tree to have someone not come to it from that projected point of view of, oh my God, poor tree, but from the place of knowing that, hey, this sucks, dude. This sucks. This really sucks. I hate seeing this beautiful town on fire. This freaking sucks. I know it's going to be so hard. And when I say hard, that's actually, never mind me, because from what I have seen in my life, I have discovered that hard is always just a point of view. There is what's going on and your willingness to be with it. And then there is our label of calling it hard. And what I have found to be true for me is that whenever I am willing to strip off my definition of, anytime I'm saying this is so hard, I like to like catch myself over there and be like, wait a second, this is so hard is not a fact. It's just a point of view. So what is actually going on here? What is intense that I can be present with? And if I were willing to be present with it without any point of view, how can I show up? What gift can I be? What gift is that presence? What gift is your presence? Your presence without judgment. Your presence with exactly what's going on right now without any definitions. And also your presence with the possibilities in the future that you, my friend, are uniquely aware of. Nobody else is aware of those possibilities in the way you are. Like, I'm aware of possibilities too, but I'm uniquely aware of possibilities in the way that I am. And similarly, you are aware of some possibilities. So, what gift are you? What is valuable? What is a gift? What can you allow yourself to know about that? What can you allow yourself to know about you? So, I hope that conversation was helpful for you guys. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me. And once again, I really want to invite you to start looking at what gift you already are when you're truly being present with what is without any judgment, including yourself. What gift is your presence? What gift is your willingness? What a contribution it is to show up with something, someone, including yourself, without any judgment. That's the world I want to live in, my friends. The world where more people that desire so get to show up for themselves to begin with, because charity begins at home, right? This is no charity. This is just pragmatics of how things work. But I would like to live in a world where more people get to show up without any thoughts. You just get to be, you just know you can be. And from that space of being, where you're not thinking, where you're not reactive, where you're not wondering about how should I react to this, did I react appropriately or not, where you're not like functioning from assumptions and presumptions like this is hard, or you acknowledge when it sucks, but then you're willing to be with it, and then you're willing to engage with, okay, now what? I wish to live in a world where more of us get to thrive like that, because I wonder what it is for you. But for me, that energy is everything. That energy where I get to just show up, where I am not really worrying about stuff, is what is valuable to me and is what I would like to be more of in the world. And so, what does that require of me? Oh, thank you, Jessica. She says this conversation was meant for me. The universe sent me the gift in form of your beautiful energy. Thank you for you, and thank you for choosing to engage with this. So once again, my friends, I invite you to start looking at what is valuable to you. What is valuable to you? That's all that matters anyway. What is a contribution? What is a gift? And what gift are you, just as yourself, even if no one understands it? Ask a tree, truly. Like, I love having tree friends all around the world. And I love receiving from them. And I love to be able to just ask them, hey, what can I contribute to you? And just allow whatever energy that creates to flow. So if you ever judge yourself or get stuck up in any of that, talk to a tree friend and see what it has to say. And once again, what gift are you? And what gift can you be with your presence? Okay, my friends, see you for another conversation another time. Until then, bye-bye.